A lot of people, when they think about Christmas, they think about long journeys. Just like I did when I was little. People travel miles and miles to see Granny and Grandpa or their aunts and their uncles and to spend time with family. It's something that people do every year. But at least at the end of these journeys, you know you've got somewhere to stay. You know you've got a bed waiting for you. But have you ever stopped to think about the journey that Mary and Joseph actually had to take on that first Christmas? Just how far they had to travel.
This reading is from Luke chapter 2, verses 1 to 7. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria. And all went to be registered, each to his own town. Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. And while they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn.
Now, we all know about how when Mary and Joseph arrived in Bethlehem, there was nowhere for them to stay. The Roman governor Quirinius had set out this order that all the people he was in charge of needed to be counted, so that he knew how many there were. So everybody was told that they had to go back to where their family came from in order to register and be counted. So it wasn't just Mary and Joseph who had to travel to Bethlehem. Lots and lots of other people would have had to as well. So many, in fact, that by the time Mary and Joseph got there, there was literally no bed for them to stay in. And so they ended up in a stable with the animals because there was no other choice. Now, before we go any further, in a second, I want you to get your mums and dads to pause the video. Then I want you to go around your house and see how many of your stuffed animals you can find. And I want you to bring them back and put them all around you so you can try and picture what it was like for Mary and Joseph in that stable. You ready? Off you go. Are you back? Let's have a look. Wow, there's a lot of animals there, guys. Well done. Good work. I could only find sheep, but they'll do. So where were we? Oh yeah, right. So Mary and Joseph are there in the stable. And if you're honest, you'd forgive them for being, well, kind of annoyed. Why? Well, not only are they in a stable and not a bedroom, and surrounded by animals, but like I said earlier, have you ever stopped to think about just how far they have travelled? I had a look, and using modern roads, it's about 157 kilometres. 157. It's a long way. It would take a normal person 33 hours to walk that far. And that's if they didn't stop for, asleep or going to the toilet or eating any food. And why do I say a normal person? Well, because remember, at this point, Mary is 9 months pregnant. Now, if any of you have little brothers or sisters, you might remember how uncomfortable your mum was just before she gave birth. Now imagine that she's like that and your dad comes to her and says, do you want to jump on the back of this donkey and we're going to travel 157 kilometres in the dark and cold? I don't think she'd be very impressed, do you? But that's what they did. She's ready to give birth, really uncomfortable, she's being bumped around on a donkey, and when she gets there, she gets put in a stable. Now if you're trying to work out how far 157 kilometres is, well, it's roughly the same distance as from here in Chester all the way to York. It is a long way on one of these. So, yes, travelling long distances is very much a part of the Christmas story, and therefore could well be part of what Christmas is all about.